My sister claimed ownership of my invention, publicly shaming me at a family gathering. But when she attempted to secure the patent, she discovered who truly held the rights to the billion-dollar technology. I stood at the back of my sister's presentation, observing as she boldly showcased my creation to a room filled with investors. Not a single person in the audience suspected that she had taken everything: the blueprints, the prototype, even the pitch deck I'd spent months refining. My name is Sarah Anderson, and for the past 3 years, I've been developing a groundbreaking water purification system, capable of cleansing contaminated water with 90% less energy than existing methods. My sister, Victoria, was on the verge of becoming a billionaire by claiming my work as her own. It all began 6 months earlier when I made the error of confiding in my family. I'd always been the reserved one, an engineer who felt more at home in her workshop than at social events. Victoria, on the other hand, was my opposite, armed with an MBA from Stanford, impeccable style, and a charisma that could sway even the most skeptical venture capitalists. "Sarah, you're always locked away in that lab," my mother remarked during one of our regular family dinners. "At least share what you're working on." I hesitated. My project was nearly ready for patent submission, and I was eager to reveal my breakthrough. In hindsight, I should have stayed silent. "It's a new water purification technique," I explained, pulling out my tablet to display the schematics. "It combines electromagnetic fields with advanced filtration membranes to eliminate contaminants at the molecular level." Victoria leaned in, suddenly intrigued. "How efficient is it?" "It's 90% more energy efficient than current systems and can be adapted for both household and industrial use," I replied. My father, who owned a thriving manufacturing business, examined the diagrams with growing enthusiasm. "This could be massive. Have you filed the patents yet?" "I'm finalizing the paperwork next week," I said. "Just completing the final validation tests." Victoria's eyes gleamed with a calculating intensity one should have noticed. "You know, Sarah, my consulting firm specializes in projects like this. Why don't you let me review your business plan?" Eager for her expertise, I agreed. That weekend, I shared everything with her: the technical details, market analysis, cost estimates, and even my handwritten notes from the project's early days. "This is incredible," she said, scrolling through my files. "But you'll need help to bring it to market. Let me make some connections." A week later, she invited me to her luxurious penthouse for dinner. The city skyline sparkled outside, but her enthusiasm felt unsettling. "I've been thinking about your invention," she said, pouring costly wine. "Your issue is that you're too focused on the technical side. You need someone who understands business." "That's why I shared it with you," I replied. "I was hoping for your guidance." Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "What if I told you I could ensure this technology reaches its full potential? Turn it into a billion-dollar company?" "That would be fantastic," I said warily. "There's just one catch," she continued. "The market needs a credible face, someone with business credentials and connections." My stomach sank. "What are you suggesting?" "I'm saying this will succeed if I take charge. You can stay in the lab, handling the technical work, while I manage the investors and business side." "Victoria, this is my invention. I've poured years into it, years in a basement lab." She interrupted sharply. "Be practical, Sarah. Who's going to invest millions based on an engineer's awkward pitch? You need me." I stood, my wine glass trembling. "No, absolutely not. I'm filing the patents in my name." Her smile turned icy. "Are you sure about that?" 2 days later, my laptop vanished from my lab. The external hard drive with my backup files disappeared from my apartment. Even my cloud storage was wiped clean, accessed using an emergency password I'd only shared with family. I was piecing together what remained of my records when my mother called. "Family dinner tonight," she said firmly. "Your father has big news." I arrived at our parents' dining room to find the table set for a celebration. Victoria sat in my usual seat, dressed in a designer suit, radiating triumph. "Everyone," my father announced, beaming, "your sister has achieved something remarkable. Victoria, share your news." She rose, holding a champagne flute. "I'm thrilled to announce that Anderson Global Solutions has developed a revolutionary water purification technology. We're filing patents this week, and I've already secured meetings with top investors." The room burst into applause. My mother shed tears of joy. My younger brother, Kevin, whistled in awe. Early estimates value the technology at over $1 billion, Victoria added. Dad's agreed to oversee manufacturing through his company. I sat stunned as my sister took credit for my life's work. When I tried to speak, my father silenced me. Sarah, don't cause a scene. Victoria has the business savvy to make this a success. You should be thankful she's taking it on. Thankful? I stood so abruptly my chair fell backward. She stole my invention. Victoria's expression hardened. I have no idea what you're talking about. Do you have proof this was your work? That's when I realized how meticulously she'd planned this. She'd taken everything, my files, prototypes, notes. Without evidence, it was my word against hers. Face it, little sister, she said coolly. You're not built for the business world. Let me handle this. I left the dinner feeling empty, my dreams and years of effort stolen by my own sister. But Victoria didn't know I'd taken precautions. Years in competitive research labs had taught me to be cautious, and I had one backup she couldn't have anticipated. The next morning I made 2 calls. The first was to Dr. James Chan, my MIT professor who'd guided me through the project's early stages. They did what? He fumed when I explained. I need your help, Dr. Chan. Remember those encrypted progress reports I sent you? Of course. I have them all archived with timestamps. My second call was to Patricia Martinez, a patent attorney renowned for tackling high-stakes intellectual property cases. Her ruthless reputation was exactly what I needed. Miss Anderson, she said after hearing my story, do you realize how valuable this technology is? Victoria thinks it's worth $1 billion. Much more, Patricia replied. If your story is true, your sister committed intellectual property theft on an unprecedented scale. I took a deep breath. I can prove it's mine. I just need time. Time, Patricia mused. And a flair for dramatic timing. When is your sister filing the patent? Next week. She's making a spectacle of it, inviting journalists, investors, even politicians to watch her submit the paperwork. Patricia's laugh was sharp. Perfect. Because I've got something better than a patent filing. A surprise that'll make your sister regret ever hearing of intellectual property law. I hung up, clutching a small USB drive Victoria didn't know existed, stored in a safety deposit box since the project's start. It held everything: data, design files, video logs of my testing, and crucially proof I'd filed a provisional patent months earlier. Victoria thought she'd stolen my future. She was about to learn how mistaken she was. I drafted an email to everyone on Victoria's patent filing guest list, hinting they'd witnessed something unexpected. The real performance was about to begin. The day of Victoria's patent filing event arrived with all the pomp she'd orchestrated. The patent office atrium was transformed into a press conference venue, complete with a podium bearing the Anderson Global Solutions logo. I lingered at the back, watching investors and reporters stream in. Victoria worked the crowd effortlessly, shaking hands and flashing her polished smile. Our parents sat in the front row, glowing with pride. Ready? Patricia Martinez appeared beside me, carrying a sleek briefcase. I nodded, gripping my laptop bag, which held the USB drive containing 3 years of my work. Remember, Patricia whispered, timing is critical. Let her start her presentation before we act. Victoria took the podium, impeccable in her tailored suit. Thank you for joining us for a historic moment in environmental technology, she began. I ignored her speech, familiar from the family dinner, and studied the crowd. Investors leaned in, calculating profits. Journalists jotted notes about the brilliant businesswoman transforming water purification. The applications are endless, Victoria declared. From developing nations to industrial systems, our technology will redefine water contamination solutions. Our father nodded approvingly. Our mother dabbed her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. And now, Victoria signaled her assistant, who approached with a tablet. I'll demonstrate the patent filing process. Excuse me, Patricia's voice sliced through the room. Before you continue, I have pertinent information to share. Victoria's smile wavered. This is a private event. Patricia Martinez, intellectual property attorney, she announced, striding forward. I represent the true inventor of this technology. Murmurs swept the room. Victoria's composure faltered. I don't know what you're talking about. I created this system. Did you? Patricia connected my laptop to the projector. Then explain these. The screen displayed my original design documents, complete with timestamps and metadata. Video clips played showing me in my lab testing prototypes logging results. Or this, Patricia added, revealing my provisional patent application, filed 3 months earlier, bearing my name Sarah Anderson. Victoria's poise cracked. These are obviously fabricated. I can confirm their authenticity, a voice rang out. Dr. Chan stood from the crowd. As Miss Anderson's mentor, I received regular encrypted progress reports throughout development. I've provided all correspondence to the patent office. Journalists expecting a routine patent filing scribbled furiously, sensing a bigger story. Investors began slipping toward the exits. Sarah, our father started standing. What are you doing? Taking back what's mine, I said, stepping forward. Victoria didn't invent anything. She stole my work after I trusted her. That's absurd, Victoria snapped, her voice unsteady. Where's your proof? I held up the USB drive. Right here. Every file, every test result, every document you thought you'd erased. Plus something you didn't know about. I nodded to Patricia, who displayed one final document. This is Miss Anderson's complete patent application, submitted electronically last night. The patent office is already processing it. Victoria lunged for the podium. You can't do this. I have investors' contracts. Fraudulent contracts, Patricia interjected, based on stolen intellectual property. Would your investors care to hear about the legal consequences? The remaining investors hastened their exit. Victoria's assistant quietly gathered her belongings and left. Mom, Dad. Victoria turned to our parents. You know this technology is better in my hands. Sarah lacks the business savvy. What I have, I cut in, is a partnership with Aquatech International. They're very interested in my invention and my ongoing role as lead engineer. That was the final blow. Victoria knew Aquatech, the industry giant she'd been courting. You're bluffing, she whispered. The doors opened and James Wong, Aquatech's CEO, entered. She's not. We followed Miss Anderson's work for months. When she presented proof of her invention and its theft last week, we were very interested. Victoria's face drained of color. Our father sank into his chair. Our mother's tears were no longer of pride. Contracts will be signed this afternoon, James continued. Sarah will lead our new research division, overseeing global implementation of her technology. I faced my sister. You thought I was just a shy engineer, unfit for the business world. You never asked what I was planning. Sarah, our father stood. Can't we resolve this within the family? The family that backed Victoria's theft? I shook my head. This is business now, and Victoria should understand that. Patricia stepped forward. Mr. and Mrs. Anderson, your daughter Victoria faces severe legal repercussions for intellectual property theft. I suggest you leave before the press asks difficult questions. They departed quickly, Victoria's polished facade shattered. The journalists stayed, eager for a story far juicier than a patent filing. 1 year later, I stood on a stage in Kenya, watching the first large-scale deployment of my water purification system go live. Villages that had long struggled with contaminated water now had access to clean, safe drinking water. Victoria avoided criminal charges by admitting to the theft in writing and agreeing never to work in environmental technology again. I heard she relocated to another state, far from the scandal. Our parents attempted apologies, claiming ignorance of Victoria's actions. I keep a cordial but distant relationship with them, limited to holiday cards and rare calls. The true celebration occurred in my lab at Aquatech's research center, surrounded by Dr. Chan and my engineering team. We toasted with champagne in paper cups, amid prototypes and equipment. Your sister never grasped it, Dr. Chan said softly. True innovation isn't about the best pitch. It's about the work. He was right. Victoria saw only the profits, not the years of research, the failures, the relentless refinements behind a revolutionary invention. Last week, I received my second patent from the patent office for an enhanced version of the system. I hung it beside the first in my office, reflecting on how things might have differed without that backup, without my readiness for betrayal. But Victoria's theft, painful as it was, pushed me to fight for my creation in ways I might not have otherwise. Instead of letting her handle the business, I learned to navigate that world. Instead of staying silent in my lab, I found my voice. The quiet engineer learned to roar. My technology now delivers clean water to millions globally. Victoria's name appears only in old articles about her attempted theft, a warning about corporate espionage and family betrayal. Sometimes karma works on its own. Sometimes it needs a nudge from a prepared mind, a hidden USB drive, and the resolve to stand up for what's right. I still prefer my lab to boardrooms, but I've learned to thrive in both. My team knows me as a brilliant engineer and a fierce defender of our innovations. That USB drive? I had it framed. It sits on my desk, a reminder that the quietest person in the room can be the most formidable, especially when protecting something built with their own hands and mind. The next generation of my system is in development, and this time I've kept it from my family. Some lessons you learn only once. Reflecting on this story, it might spark new questions or stir old memories. Every day, platforms like Reddit bring fresh stories that connect us through shared experiences. We all have unique journeys, navigating life's joys, sorrows, and lessons. If this tale resonated with you, share it with friends. Your feedback is invaluable, inspiring us to create richer content. Stories like these remind us that everyone's path is distinct, and by sharing we learn and grow. Feel free to share your own experiences. Your stories matter. If you enjoyed this, let us know. We strive to craft content that sparks new ideas and perspectives. Your input helps us improve, bringing fresh angles to every tale. Today's story is just one of countless narratives shared worldwide, a testament to how we make sense of life through storytelling. We hope to keep sharing stories that inspire growth and connection. Thank you for your time and stay tuned for more. If you haven't already, like and follow for more compelling content. Your support fuels us, and we'll continue delivering thought-provoking, heartwarming stories. Until next time, stay curious and take care.